either stance, that's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out, and
I don't know if it's reachable for him. If anybody can do it, it's him, and I'm contradicting myself. I just don't see it happening, you know. Could it happen? Yeah, it's boxing.
Reports suggest that Terence Crawford is training with Gennady Golovkin ahead of his showdown with Canelo Álvarez, a development that has the boxing world buzzing. The two champions are believed to be working on sharpening Crawford's power, timing, and overall ring IQ. With Golovkin's veteran insight guiding him, this partnership could give Crawford a crucial edge as he prepares for one of the toughest challenges of his career. Analysts agree that Terence Crawford is no ordinary fighter. They see him as a rare talent who blends speed, timing, and an unmatched ability to read his opponents. Crawford is known for switching stances effortlessly and adjusting his approach mid-fight, a skill only a few elite boxers possess. His ring IQ is often called genius level, as he systematically breaks down opponents with precision. For many observers, Crawford is more than great, he is a master strategist who controls fights with intelligence and surgical execution.
But if there is anyone who can do it, it's Terence Bud Crawford, a man who survived getting shot in the head, for God's sake. Like, he is not normal. He is a wizard of boxing. He's got genius IQ, one of the smartest boxers I've ever seen, and he can do it all. He's had over 40 fights. I can't ever remember seeing him, like, shook or worried. I mean, this is, you know, trained killers trying to take his head off, and he never looks out of pocket. He is like a rapper who just turns up and figures out his lines on the fly and still makes it sound like the best song you've ever heard. Like, that's how amazing he is. Like, I've never seen anyone who can fight out both stances the way Crawford can. I mean, he looks so natural in either stance. That's a real problem for Canelo because he will just be switching, and you don't know where the shots are coming from, and it's so easy for him to do so. And I think the thing that really made me appreciate him is there's many times where I've seen people try and trade with him and slug it out, and you know, when they stand in the pocket and they just go for it. And even in those situations where usually both of you are getting hit, he still manages to hit and not get hit. It's like he's in the Matrix. And this isn't against average fighters, this is against the best in the world at 4 different weight classes, and he's made it look easy pretty much every time he's moved up. I think in the Errol Spence fight, that was a fight that was supposed to be 50-50, the pressure was on, a lot of people thought he was going to lose that fight. He made that look like a boxing lesson, and the reason was when Errol Spence would throw a punch and not get out of the pocket quick enough, he would make them pay every single time. And if people are worried about Canelo's feet being slow, if there's anyone who can punish that, it's Terence Bud Crawford. In terms of weaknesses, these guys, they don't really have weaknesses. They've just got things that they maybe not as amazing at. That's the level we're talking here. Canelo has been accused of being a bit of a slow starter, and, you know, that could be a problem. And
Michael Fox pointed out that the only true disadvantage for Crawford in this fight is size. Moving up to face a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo is no small task, and it could allow the Mexican superstar to impose physical pressure. Still, Fox believes Crawford holds the edge in nearly every technical area. His footwork creates angles that frustrate opponents, his jab sets the tone for combinations, and his timing is elite. Most importantly, Crawford's ability to adapt and change tactics mid-fight is what makes him dangerous. Fox concluded that if Crawford can withstand the physicality and prevent Canelo from controlling the action with power shots, his superior skills could shine through and lead him to victory.
I would like to see Bud pull it off. The thing about it is, I think the only disadvantage Bud really has is the weight. I think he has all the skills and attributes that are required to beat a guy like Canelo Álvarez. Canelo's kind of flat-footed. You've seen the fights with Bivol and Laura and even School, who didn't do much, but you see that movement irritates Canelo. You know what I'm saying? When dudes that know how to control the range and stuff like that, he didn't look like the world beater. You know what I mean? The motherfuckers that sat in front of him, them dudes that sat in front of him, we see what he did with him. You know what I mean? But guys like Bivol, who was bigger, but he bouncing in and out. Laura, motherfucking landing counter lefts, and he's circling out, and that shit was fucking with Canelo. Floyd Floyd, you know, it probably killed him that Floyd was always only an inch away.
Yep.
Just a little step back, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, God damn, I feel like I missed by a mile.
That's
so,
crazy because he didn't use no movement.
Right.
He stood in the pocket on it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Triple G was. You said G? Triple G?
No, I said Floyd didn't use no movement.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. He was always where he needed to be in the ring. I'm in there to land, then I'm just right here. In there to land, but now I'm right here. It just bad motherfucker, Joe. Like that's what Floyd knows. You gotta understand. Floyd was a bad motherfucker. But the movement, having good feet under you, helps against Canelo.
When new training photos of Terence Crawford surfaced online, fans and commentators reacted with curiosity and skepticism. The images showed Crawford in peak physical shape, with a sharper, more muscular build. Some questioned whether the pictures were genuine or perhaps exaggerated to intimidate Canelo ahead of the fight. While Crawford has always been known for his disciplined training, the dramatic transformation sparked debate and highlighted how closely every detail is scrutinized leading up to a super fight of this magnitude.
Shredded wheat and amazing. Is this photo photoshopped? Because this photo that Ilia Tapora posted of Terence Bud Crawford is the latest photo we've seen, and he looks just less impressive in this photo. Well, the question is really, when were the photos taken? All right, so when you look at this photo and you look at this photo and look at this video of Terence Crawford with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh as Terence Crawford is working out, supposedly just yesterday, right? Which one is Terence Crawford's latest appearance? Because even though this is the latest photo you've seen, doesn't mean this is when the photo was taken. The only reason why people are confused is because this latest photo seems to have been taken in Vegas. And we're approaching fight week and Terence Crawford is already in Vegas. Hence the video with him with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh in Vegas. Now, let me explain all of this. Well, first you gotta look at the hairstyles, right? Terence Crawford in this photo from Ilia Tapora, his hairstyle is totally different than this hairstyle here with Terence Crawford shredded wheat. It is also different than his hairstyle that he has here in the gym with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. You can tell because you can tell how the hair braid, like how it's parted in this photo, and in this photo, they're more parted down the middle, where this video is slanted, it's in like a diagonal slant, which I'm thinking is his latest.
Boxing analyst Adam Smith explained why he favors Crawford over Canelo, pointing to timing as the deciding factor. According to Smith, boxing is about more than just skill, it's also about meeting an opponent at the right time. Canelo has endured years of grueling battles against top competition, and Smith feels that the wear and tear has taken some of the sharpness out of his game. Crawford, on the other hand, is in peak form, undefeated, and still hungry to prove himself. Smith believes this fight comes at the perfect moment for Crawford to seize greatness, catching Canelo just as his speed and explosiveness have slightly declined.
To see, I think Terence Crawford beats Canelo, and I think that it's going to be his coming out party. I'd love to be there, and Canelo, of course, an all-time great. Yeah, but listen, I love Ireland, and I'm pleased to be in Belfast with the zone for Crocker and Donovan. There's something about an all-Irish fight which is fantastic, and it was great and controversial first time around. It's even bigger now, so yeah, let's chat over there and get on with it.
Just a quick one on Canelo Crawford. I heard you pick Crawford, you just said it there. How much of that is down to timing and how much of that is down to styles?
A bit of both. I think Canelo is approaching 70 fights. He's been beaten before. Crawford remains undefeated. I think that the jump up is big, but I think he's got the speed, the IQ, the experience, the know-how to be able to handle it. If he's switched on for every minute of every round, I think he wins, and I think he announces himself to the world on Netflix. And I think he deserves it. I think Terence Crawford's only been really known to the trade fans. Canelo, obviously, you know, a bigger name, bigger star, and look, I fancy Crawford in this fight. Look, nothing against Canelo. Maybe it's a little bit of time in the skull fight. I don't know, but there's plenty that fancy Canelo. Be too big, too strong, too good. It's Crawford for me.
On Talk Sport Boxing, the debate over this fight got heated. Some commentators went so far as to claim that if Crawford suffers a one-sided loss, it could mark the end of his days as a top-level headliner. While some on the panel predicted that Canelo's size and pressure would simply overwhelm Crawford, others argued that Crawford's technical skill and boxing IQ could turn the tables. The discussion highlighted just how divided opinion is within the sport and how high the stakes are for both men.
So yeah, there's a big argument that Canelo Álvarez starts the favourite going into this one because he's the super middleweight world champion. Bud Crawford jumping up two weight divisions, you know, and he's jumped up a weight division before that as well, beating Errol Spence. You just look at it and go, it's a massive ask here for Terence Crawford. But something inside me tells me he wins, and we'll get into that later on.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but in the meantime, you know, Canelo, as ever, has left no stone unturned. He's been training at altitude in Sierra Nevada, looking to get the maximum body stamina and preparation advantage. It's something that he's used to, and of course he's going to effectively be the home fighter because Tex-Mexers will be up in their numbers from Texas, also Hispanic fans from all around the United States. The fight is being made on Mexican Independence Day. I don't think you have to be a great crystal ball gazer to know where the bulk of the crowd is going to be rooting when they step out inside those ropes and their names are bellowed out by the ringside announcer afterwards.
Listen, even though the fight happens in America and Terence Crawford is American, it is going to be so pro-Mexican there, you know, because Canelo is accepted. He's like an adopted son there, and Mexican Independence Day, all of that goes so much in favour of Canelo Álvarez. You go, actually, the guy that's a four-division world champion and a superstar of the sport and American will start probably the fan favourite will definitely be Canelo Álvarez.
Yeah, definitely. And he's been training with somebody, sparring with a man who he thinks replicates Crawford's style in sparring many rounds against Yaron Ennis.
George Ferocious Kambosos Jr. weighed in, focusing on Canelo's pressure fighting style. He explained that Canelo is most dangerous when he cuts off the ring, closes distance, and lands heavy, accurate combinations. Kambosos expects Canelo to use this strategy against Crawford, forcing him to fight off the back foot. For Kambosos, the key will be whether Crawford can absorb those heavy shots without letting Canelo dictate the pace, because if he can't, the Mexican's relentless pressure could take over the fight.
Going is Canelo is the pressure fighter. He's got to put the pressure on Crawford. He has to be able to land his big shots. He's seasoned at fighting at super middleweight. He's fought as high as light heavyweight, as we know. So he is accustomed to the bigger punches, the bigger shots. I don't think Crawford can really land anything that's going to trouble a guy like Canelo Álvarez. You know, Canelo is such a good pressure fighter, and for him to be successful in this fight, he needs to be able to really cut the ring off very, very well with a guy like Terence Crawford. Now, we saw in Canelo's last fight against Skull that he was not able to really cut him off well. So that has caused a lot of doubters, you know, and people starting to think, you know, Crawford will have that edge in the footwork and the movement department. But, you know, when you're fighting a big fight, you're going to get up for a big fight, and he's really going to be at his best against a guy like Terence Crawford. So I believe he will cut the ring off, you know, very, very well. And for him to be successful, he has to land shots on Crawford, put him in two frames of minds, make Crawford double think every time Canelo goes in and wants to land shots and land shots. Now, a guy like Crawford is so slick, so dynamic, able to punch you from different angles and, you know, different stances. We see he switches from orthodox to southpaw. He might fight the whole fight in southpaw. So he's so dynamic. Now, he's the kind of guy that he's going to put Canelo in two kind of frames of.
Some analysts have voiced concerns based on Crawford's previous move up in weight, particularly his performance against Israil Madrimov, where he didn't look quite as comfortable. They argue that stepping up yet again to face a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo will be an even tougher adjustment. Against Madrimov, Crawford's power seemed less imposing, and critics worry that against Canelo this could be even more pronounced. This group believes that size and weight might neutralize some of Crawford's usual advantages, making this a dangerous gamble.
But a lot of people feel Crawford actually lost that fight. So we've got Crawford is coming in off the back of, well, his previous 2 fights. One of them was brilliant performance. The other one was a bit lackluster by his very high standards, albeit against a very, very good fighter. But you could see in that fight that the size of Israel Madrimov, bear in mind, 154 pounds, Israel Madrimov still fights at 154 pounds. This is super middleweight, 2 divisions more. And we've seen Canelo when he's brought someone up from 154 who was a decent size 154 pounder in Charlo. But Crawford's not going to do what Charlo did. Charlo fought like, you know, someone who was completely scared out of his mind and just didn't want to knew he wasn't going to win but didn't want to get stopped. That was really the look we were getting from Charlo. Crawford is not going to do that. He's a very proud man, doesn't know what it's like to be defeated. He fully believes in himself and the shape he looks in phenomenal shape. He's coming into this fight fully believing that he can win this, and that right there is the mindset you need to have. It won't guarantee you victory, but it will give you a better chance than if you went in there thinking, right, just survive and see what happens. I do think that the size difference will be something, although saying that, look at Canelo Álvarez, we look at his most recent performances, and when's the last fight from Álvarez that's really made you stand up and take note? Caliplant, Billy Joe Saunders, maybe those 2 fights, they were good performances. Lost, clearly, the Dimitri Bivol fight, although it's very close here, it was on the scorecards, it was a clear loss. Against Triple G, it was just a meh performance. Likewise against John Ryder, Charlo, we won't even talk about that. Munguia, it was a bit meh. Again, Berlanga, it was like, okay.
Former Canelo team member Joe Vargas shared his perspective, insisting that Canelo was a unique challenge unlike anything Crawford has faced. Vargas highlighted Canelo's composure under fire, devastating body shots, and knockout power in both hands. He stressed that Crawford has never fought someone who blends power with such strong defense and counterpunching ability. Vargas believes this fight is an opportunity for Canelo to prove he is still one of the most complete fighters in boxing.
This is the first time I pick it. I'm going to go with Canelo on this one.
Why is that?
They're both great at what they do. I'm going against Maggie. I heard everything she said right now. She's right on the money on all that stuff, but Crawford has done a lot of great things at a smaller weight. You know, that jump is I don't know if it's reachable for him. If anybody can do it, it's him, and I'm contradicting myself. I just don't see it happening, you know. Could it happen? Yeah, it's boxing. But I just think Canelo's too good at the little things. And what's Crawford's game plan going to be? You know, that's what's going to define the fight to me.
Do you think Canelo knocks him out?
No, but I think, well, that's the only way I think he's going to win. I think he wants to make a statement. I was going back and forth about Canelo. Like, everybody talks about, like, for example, when Berlanga fought Shiraz. Did I say it right? Shiraz? Berlanga was engaging with Shiraz. He wasn't engaging with Canelo much, you know? Same thing with Ryder. He didn't engage with Canelo. Munguia did. And it's like, you fight people different. Crawford's not going to fight him the same way he's fought everybody else. Yeah, he's going to make great adjustments. He's going to do some great things. It's not the same till you get hit by Canelo. You know, one time, I remember the first time Ulises Sierra sparred with Canelo, the first time we went to his camp, and he came back after the first round, and I said, "What's up, mijo? How hard does he hit?" He said, "Coach, I can feel his power all the way down to my feet."
That wraps up today's coverage. Stay tuned for more analysis, breakdowns, and updates as we count down to one of the most highly anticipated fights of the year.